Okay, it's 2:22 a.m. on the rocket clock, and I'm taking that as a sign to start the potty right now. So today's episode is why I've deleted Instagram. Where do I start? Honestly, like the first thing I kind of want to say is that like I don't actually think that like social media is necessarily a bad thing. Like for me, for many years, social media was actually a good thing for me. Instagram was like my creative outlet for my photography, for my videography, my fashion, everything. So not just that, but like I've always been a misfit and a weirdo. And so it's always been like hard for me to find people in real life that I feel like I really vibe with or fuck with. And I think like that's led to a lot of loneliness in my life. And so like the internet and social media has been a great thing for me because I've been able to find those other autisms online and like feel like I had community, which I didn't have in real life. On top of that, I feel like it really depends on who you're following. So like I followed a lot of like people who like I feel like spiritually were like great guides for me and great leaders, like Aubrey Marcus and his crew, Fit for Service, a lot of astrologers too, which I actually really turned to during when I was like really depressed. Just felt like, I don't know, just felt like it helped. So straight up, like I don't think social media is a bad thing. It's like any tool, like it can use you or you can use it. I think you just have to be conscious of like it and how it uses you. And if you are using it to like numb or whatnot, to just be conscious of that. So there's a few reasons why I do want to leave. The first is because like I just don't fuck with Meta anymore, like the company. So for those who don't know, like Facebook owns Instagram and they've like changed their name to Meta. And the first time I really started to stop loving Meta is when during the whole when we were forced to like wear the masks and stuff a few years ago. I was just like looking around the human rights website for Australia. So it's like humanrights.gov.vic.au, right? And in there it said like you cannot force anyone to wear a mask. It's like they can decide for themselves if they do not want to wear one or if they have a medical reason why they don't want one. They do not need a note from a doctor. And on that website you could get your own exemption, right? So I took a screenshot of that and I tried to send that to someone on Instagram, like in a message, and this red cross came up instantly and my account got blocked for like, I don't know, a few hours, as in like I couldn't post anything, I couldn't send any messages. And I was like, what the hell? So then eventually when I got unblocked, I tried to post it on my story for my close friends and yeah, same thing happened. And so I was like, what on earth? And then like I didn't like write anything on this. Like I didn't underline anything. It was just a screenshot, right? So I also sent this to two friends, like in a text message, and then they tried to do the same thing on their Instagram and the same thing happened. Their account got blocked for a while. Like look, no matter what side, it doesn't actually matter what side of like the whole like debate you are, like a screenshot from the human rights website, like that to me was just like fucked. So then that already pissed me off. And then there's been a few things where I've been censored or like shadow banned. So like I once was like for like sharing a photo of weed on my like close story friends, and it was like it actually came up with a sign saying like sharing like prohibited illegal substances or some shit. And I'm just like, it's fucking like medicinally prescribed. Like it's not even illegal. And it's so like shit like that's pissed me off. And then like what would happen is like my viewers on my stories would go down from like 600 to like 80 or something. Like it really affected me. And that's the thing about my Instagram. I should like make a side note is like, this was my personal Instagram. This was my business Instagram. So like the reason why, and like for me to delete Instagram is actually a pretty big deal because like for a couple of years, like, Instagram was like part of my career, like as a business owner. Like it was like content creation is a part-time job. Like don't get it wrong, like a lot of effort and energy goes into that because it's basically your storefront and it's also your marketing campaign. And so I've spent like hours and hours and hours for years and years just putting so much effort into my content because that was how I reached people, and that was also like how, you know, I could create a culture that would like influence people to buy from my store. And so that's the other thing that really annoyed me about Instagram is that like I felt like I put so much into my Instagram and my posts and stuff, and I was doing everything it wanted me to do, like because they say like if you want to get into the algorithm, like you have to like be posting every day, maybe even more than once a day. And I was posting on my story like at least 4 times a day and posting something every day, and it wasn't shit content, it was good content. And then it was just like I just don't feel like I ever got rewarded from that. yeah, I then like if I just like took a week off or something, I felt like I was like severely punished for that. And like, yeah, my likes would go down, like my views would go down. I was always getting fucking shadow banned. And then it would just be like things like currently, as I've deleted my Instagram, I have like 7,000 followers, and I would post a photo and I'd get like 8 likes or something. So it's like, it was just like, yeah, like it would just, you'd get punished if you just like didn't do like all their bullshit. The other thing is, it's like there's not great reach on Instagram. Like I just think there's better apps now. So like TikTok, for example, there's been a couple of times where I've posted a video on Instagram, and actually there was 2 times where I posted a video on Instagram and I posted the same video on TikTok, and literally 10 times more views. Like both times they went viral. So that was actually a good indication that like, okay, that's like a good video. But like it would get like say 10,000 views on Instagram, which I consider viral, especially for Instagram. But then I'll put on TikTok and it gets like 100,000 views. And it's like, oh, okay, like you literally get like 10 times the amount of like reach on TikTok. And then like, yeah, another time I posted a video and it got like 2,000 views on Instagram. And then I posted it on TikTok and it got like 2.7 million. So the algorithm of Instagram is just like shit anyway. Like it's just like not really that good for achieving what you want to achieve. If you're trying to like get views and yeah. And I just feel like Meta feels like they can just treat us however they want because they have such like a chokehold on us. Like we need the apps. And I'm kind of like on strike. I'm kind of like, no, like fuck you. Like if you think you can like kind of treat me like that and like I need you, like I don't. It's almost like an abusive relationship where I'm like, oh, I will walk if I do not feel appreciated. So yeah, like I think the other thing as well is like the audience on Meta is kind of just like people you went to high school with, and just like, I don't know, it's almost like a reflection of the mainstream world in a way, and this like kind of social hierarchy, and I don't know. So something about it just doesn't feel right. Like I'm so excited to kind of go to other platforms where I can just be completely anonymous even, and there'd be like more freedom to post my art and stuff because it won't reflect on me and therefore the people around me. And in a kind of way, I kind of feel like I'm almost saying goodbye to that world and my place in it by deleting Instagram, which has been like a really freeing and kind of like spiritual kind of moment for me. Yeah. I think like the straw that broke the camel's back was when one of the last times I logged on to Meta on Instagram, and I saw a post from Rush Magazine. I quite like Rush Magazine. It's a publication in Australia. And they wrote, Meta has already removed news publishers from its platforms in Canada. It's now likely that will happen in Australia, and Rush and other media outlets will disappear from Instagram in the coming weeks. Why is this happening? Meta does not want to pay publishers for the benefit it receives in sharing and using our content. Despite pressure from our government to compensate publishers, Meta is choosing to remove publishers from its platforms rather than negotiate a compensation arrangement. And that to me is just like exactly Meta, like just greedy, like just thinks it can take, like, and that's the thing. It's like Meta would, like Instagram would be nothing without the creators. So it's just like, just greedy shit. I think there's a lot of people who are feeling like me. Like when I spoke to my best friend Rack about it, I was like, I'm thinking of like deleting Instagram. She's like, so I've been thinking about deleting it too for like ages. And apparently Instagram was the most deleted app in 2023. So yeah, I posted like a question box on my Instagram before I deleted and just said, has anybody got any questions about me and Mew Clothing? So Mew Clothing was my business, if you're not familiar, for which my Instagram account was for. And I had a few questions. And firstly, I was going to talk about how I grew my following. So I've always been like shameless and honest about this. For the first like 5,000, like I hustled my ass off. Like a lot of it I followed and unfollowed. Like you had like a limit of like 200 a day. And yeah, I would just like sit there and like I would go to certain communities though and just like say, if I would say like, okay, that brand is kind of similar to mine. I feel like the people who follow this like might be interested in my kind of work as well. So go to like their following list and I would, go through and I would follow like 200 people. And then like the next day or whatever, I would just like unfollow another 200 people. I know it's like kind of bad, but I'm just honest and shameless about it. Like that's just fucking how I had to do it. I also hustled in other ways. Like I would like just, I was always going to like events and like expos and pop-ups and just like I was always handing out like I would say like always have like something, like I made heaps of stickers and I had them and I would hand them out for free and they would have all my contact details on it. So I feel like you kind of have to make something that's like free to like give people that they want and they take home and that has your like contact stuff on it. I would do giveaways, like not just on Instagram, it would be like share this post and you can win a jacket. And I'd make the giveaway actually good. Like everybody always wanted like the sleeping bag and doona jackets. For those who don't know, I had a sustainable clothing business and I sold beanies that were made out of plastic bottles, and I also sold jackets that were upcycled from sleeping bags and doonas and like handmade here in Geelong and stuff. And so yeah, I would do a giveaway like that, and I would also do a giveaway in real life. Like I would go and do a pop-up or a market and I would like have my jacket there that I was giving away, and I'd have a big QR code sign and just be like, give me your email or like follow me on Instagram and you can go into the draw. And then we'll just do giveaways like that. The last 2,000 followers, I actually bought them. So I did this because I only did this like a month or two ago because I was just kind of curious. I've just heard so many things about like, if you buy followers, it's like really bad for your engagement and you get shadow banned. And I just actually wanted to know like what happened. And so I think I paid something like $20 or something, which is pretty cheap to get followers. And they just like within like 5 minutes, they all followed me. And yeah, I jumped from like 5,000 to 7. And yeah, it did like fuck up my engagement. But it was like every other time I've been shadow banned where it would just slow down for like a little while and then it would slowly go back to normal. And so to be perfectly honest with you, if I was starting another business, I would probably just straight up buy like 50,000 followers. It'd probably cost me like $250, which is a lot of money. But I think about the hours I spent like following, unfollowing people or just like hustling. I would do that because I think it's like a mental game too. Like I think a lot of people have sheep mentality where if they think like, oh shit, something's happening here, then they like will get around it and think it's cool. It's also something that you can like leverage. Like a lot of people care about your followers when you're trying to go, if you're applying to even like be a part of like pop-ups or market stalls and stuff, like it almost is like a game where like they're going to judge you. So you kind of got to like, I don't know, but then I would be honest about it too. Like I wouldn't lie. I'd probably do a podcast and be like, this is why I just bought 50,000 followers. But then I think you do have to have a level of integrity around it. Like for example, if I did that now with the podcast and I like inbox a guest and said, hey, do you want to be on my potty? Like I feel like I'd have to tell them like, by the way, if you think you're reaching like 50,000 like organic people, like you're not, they're probably bots, sods. And like, to be honest, like I look around on Instagram now and I'm just like, so many people have bought their followers. Like I can straight up see it. Like, I'm just like, there's just no way. Like, yeah, you can just like, you can kind of tell. But the other thing is like the engagement is low. So like if you really care about your community and you really do care about your engagement, then it's probably not a good move. But like that is something that you could probably grow after you've like bought followers. And like, I don't know, I could probably do it if I was going to like, say if I was big on other platforms, or maybe not even big, but if I was new to other platforms, and then people could find me on Instagram and then be like, oh shit, like, you know, there's something about this brand. But I don't know, that's just a personal thing to me. Like honestly, like business is a game to me. It's like a puzzle. Like it's like a puzzle I'm always trying to crack and solve, and it's fun now. Like I've taken the pressure off actually needing to succeed, and I've just look at it as like a game now that's fun. And Instagram or social media is a part of that puzzle. And so like for me, like that's the avenue that I would probably do it next time. But yeah, I don't know. That's just me, and I might do that and realize it's shit. But yeah, I'm just being honest. I also would do some guerrilla marketing. So like I printed a lot of stickers that were like waterproof, and I just put them all over like Geelong with my best friend Raquel. And yeah, just like getting our brand out there, like the same sticker, the same logo, so that people saw it. Like sometimes we'll do other ones, but we try to stick with the same one just so it was kind of like repetitive and stuck in people's minds. There was a couple of times where like I would meet someone, like an example that came to mind is like I bought some shoes at Foot Locker. I actually don't even think I bought them, but I must have, because I was talking to the girl at the counter and she was like, I love your jumper, like something. And then I gave her a business card that said Mew on it. She's like, oh my God, I've seen this sticker. Like I've had that happen like a lot of times. And so I think like that was a really good way to go about it too, like cheap marketing sort of. And then another thing we did was just like get like some sheets, like bed sheets from the op shop, and like spray paint like the Instagram handle, like at Mew Clothing. And we just hung them around Geelong. Like we hung them, I mean, allegedly. We like allegedly hung them off like the tower at the waterfront and like over the bridge on like North Geelong, like over the highway. And then we drove past it later. You just see it. But you'd be surprised. Like, you do shit like this and, like, you don't get that many followers. Like, it's really, really hard to gain a following. Yeah, but honestly, they were some of the best memories and, like, some of the most fun about the whole thing. Yeah, although when I did a pop-up at Cry Village, like, a girl came in and she, said, like, I had your finals, whatever. And she's like, I saw you, like, on yeah, we hung one. We allegedly hung one off, like, the gate at Clonard College, which is, like, where we went to high school. And, like, they followed us and they fucking frothed us, even though we're just doing naughty shit like this all the time. And we're like, gang, it's actually pretty cool. Yeah, but this girl, like, saw us on, I think we allegedly hung one, like, on the fence, like, on Vines Road. It wasn't Minerva Road, it was Minerva Road on the Oval. Yeah. So I highly recommend doing that. Yeah. Someone asked me, like, how do I deal with creative burnout? This is kind of a separate one to having an Instagram, but I would straight up say, like, if you've got creative burnout, you're doing too much. Like, you need to learn to say no to certain projects. So whether that's, I mean, I know what it's like to have 100 ideas and, like, want to manifest all of them, but, like, I've had to learn in my life to let go of some projects. You just can't do all of them. It's just impossible. And it kind of actually slows you down from having the best ones. I really resonated with this creative burnout one because when I was doing Mew Clothing, when I was making the jackets myself, I fucking hate sewing. And I was sewing the jackets myself and, like, it just became a massive chore. And it took me, like, after, like, I finally, like, kind of stopped doing Mew Clothing, I didn't sew for, like, a year because I just, like, it became such a chore. I ruined it for myself. So, like, that was a big lesson for me. I think the other thing as well is you have to kind of figure out when you are picking, like, if instead of having 100 ideas, if you get 100 ideas, like, trying to pick, like, which ones do I actually, like, manifest, trying to figure out, like, the work to inspo ratio because, like, okay, it's one thing to get a burst of inspiration in the middle of the night and a poem to come through you and to write it out, right? It's another thing the next day to actually go back and do the work and clean up that piece of writing and make sure your spelling's right and make sure it flows and, you know, draft 2, 3, 4. And so I think sometimes, like, you get a burst of inspiration, but it's really just a tiny spark. And then, you know, other times you get a burst of inspo and it's like a fucking bonfire. And so, like, I feel like I've learned to just, like, kind of step back and just wait to see, like, really gauge, like, how much inspiration, because if it's just a spark, it might be like 5% spark, 95% work, and that's not really enjoyable. Versus if it's a bonfire, then that's enough to sustain you through the work. Yeah, and I think another tip for creative burnout is to just stay balanced in all other areas of your life, like be able to put it on a shelf. Just health in general is really important for me. Staying meditative. Let's go with that. Staying meditative is really important. Just like, yeah, just balance in other areas of life make it, I think, easier to just, like, build up your energy gauge. But I think you have a finite amount of creativity. And so, you know, utilize it well. Don't let your mind dictate where you should spend it, like I did with my business. Just, yeah, try to follow the heart, the inspo. Someone else asked me what my marketing strategy was. I feel like I've kind of already went into that a little bit, but there's a couple more things I want to touch on. By the way, I never started marketing. I mean, I, like, read books and stuff myself, and I think that there is something to learning from trial and error. But, you know, this is, and by the way, I've never really had, like, a successful business. I wouldn't say that Mew was, like, successful to the point where I could, like, live off it. And so, you know, take my words with a grain of salt. But I do think that, like, I did do it for, like, a couple of years and I have learnt something. So hopefully you can take what I learned. I think I did Instagram ads a few times. I didn't get much success from it. I don't know, like, if I really ever found out who my customer profile was, like my unicorn customer. So basically, unicorn customer is, like, if you had to summarize, like, your customers into, like, one person, what would they look like? You know, what are their interests? Like, blah, blah, blah. I think for me, I came up with 2. One was, like, the kind of upcycler who's really into, like, thrifting and sustainable fashion. And the other person was, like, I called the fucking misfit, which, like, is just, yeah, like, it's actually really interesting because when I was doing Mew, I was like, fuck, like I've noticed there's like a lot of people with autism who love buying my clothes. Like autisms who like love to game. Like that's really interesting. I didn't know I was autistic yet. And then like when I got diagnosed with autism, I'm like, oh, it all makes sense because like energy attracts like energy. So I think like it's probably like to be clear about your customer and what they actually want and what else that you can offer them that they might be wanting, and you can kind of skew what you provide towards that, which I kind of tried to do. I think, Instagram ads didn't have much success. Also, I don't know, I've heard that like fashion is like the hardest business to run because like the market is so oversaturated. I don't know, maybe I just tell myself that, so I'm like, that's why it was so hard. But like I do have other friends who've had a lot of success from Instagram ads, so I can't really give you any advice there. I think in general, like be honest, like it's hard for me, like it was Mew clothing, right? And Mew is like my name. So it was like so personal that my personality was behind my brand a lot. And I know actually a lot of people with small businesses who struggle with this. They're like, I don't want to have to put like my personality behind the brand, but you kind of have to if you're making all this content. And like, first of all, I would say like, don't, if you're not comfortable doing it, then don't. I was very comfortable. Like I've always lived my life like an open book. But I think like if you are putting your personality behind it, to just be honest. I feel like people can like smell fake shit like a mile away. And like, for example, like I remember when I launched the tracksuits and I was really excited, and I think I made like one sale and I was fucking really deflated. And then I felt like I don't know, just kind of felt like not imposter, but I think a lot of people looking at the business, and I kind of wanted to hide and pretend that I was doing really well because I was kind of embarrassed. Like I think if you're going to have a small business on social media, you got to be prepared to like fail publicly. And so like I just went on the next day and just said, I started a whole thread called my business failures. And I just went like 10-minute videos just being, all right, like this is where I'm at. Like this is what I've done. It didn't work. And I think people really fucked with it because I was providing kind of content for other like kind of small businesses or people who like have wanted to start a small business so that like, they could learn from my mistakes. Yeah, so I think like being honest is like important and transparent. I think like if you're going to post content, make it interesting. Don't just put like studio shoots. Like that's boring. No one wants to see that unless you're doing fun shit in the studio, which we tried to do. But like I think like Alex Hormozi talks about this a lot, and he basically says like don't ever try to sell people shit. Just like give them free good content all the time that they enjoy. It could be entertaining, like it could be educational, could just be aesthetically pleasing, like could be artsy, and then like eventually like they'll come to you. Like and I think I always tried to make my content interesting. And I think like definitely do reels every day. I would probably, if I was still trying, I'd be posting reels every day. Because that's like the reach on that is crazy. Like if you post a reel and you look at who it reached, it's like 15% of people who viewed it are like your followers, and then like 85% is like people who don't even like follow you. So that's how you reach new people. So that's what I would do. But honestly, I would just fucking scream right off and just go to TikTok. Like I said, that's just my advice on my business failures. So that ended up being a long one. But thanks to everyone who's been a part of the journey. It actually did feel like the end of an era, kind of closing my Instagram down because there's just so much community that grew there and so many memories and so much art. And I kind of lived my healing journey really publicly for like 2 years, the whole way through depression, the shaved head, the fucking weight gain, the everything. I was just like raw and honest about it, and I just wanted to be an open book. And now it's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like that it served its purpose. Like maybe that's just what I was meant to do, just, heal publicly, let the world see, and then I'm healed, I feel. So it's kind of, I mean, I know the healing journey never ends, but like, I'm out of depression and stuff now. So it's like, I don't know, it's like now that's done. It's like, I don't need Instagram anymore. Close that chapter. The only thing that makes me want to keep Instagram is I made some connections while doing my thing. Like a couple of like pretty well-known drag queens and other people that I built connections with that I'm like, if they ever wanted to turn to me for some collaboration or some reason, they wouldn't be able to find me. And so I've deactivated my account at the moment, but I'll probably like need to talk to someone or something, reactivate it, and then I might just leave the account there and have it in my bio, like for all inquiries, email like Mads Williams there. Oh, sorry, what is it? Mads at mewclothing or whatever.com. And then yeah, but that's pretty much the only thing that makes me like not want to delete it. Yeah, so that's that. I am Mew, and this is the journey of setting yourself free from Instagram.